Hello everybody, how are you all? So guys, with just a few days remaining in your JEE main attempt, the first JEE main attempt of 2023, uh, I decided to come up with this lecture again, the Guess Without Mess lecture, which we have conducted over the past few years. So everywhere I come up with some questions from the past attempts, which you can actually just guess on the result, because you guys know JEE main is an MCQ based test mostly. 20 questions in every subject are MCQ based. So there are four options. So the natural question that we come up with is, can we just guess the right answer? Because there are four options over there. So that is the first question. Can we even guess the answer? And the next thing that we wonder is, if we guess it and if we get it wrong, are we going to finally end up with losing more marks than we can actually gain? And if we can guess and if all these problems are gone, how is it that we are going to exactly get to the right answer? So all these questions we are going to discuss over here. So we are going to start with it. You guys are on live chat as well. So guys, you can communicate with me over the live chat if you have any questions. And those who are here, can you just send a hi so that I can know you are over here? Okay, Aditya is here, Kahan, Uday, Tarun. Okay. Karthik is here, fine. Okay, Samiksha. So many of you have already got your dates also for your JEE main attempt. So some of you have, I think most of you guys who I talked to, you have it on 25th Jan, but some of us on 31st. And of course, dates are going to be different for different people. And for some of you guys, the dates are still not out. So it will soon be declared as mentioned by NTA. So yeah, guys, here in this lecture, we're going to see how we can actually guess the right answers and if it is even possible, and what are the advantages, disadvantages. These things we are going to discuss over here. So first of all, let me tell you, when I start with this lecture, that whatever we are going to discuss, I'm going to tell you how to guess the right answers, what could the tricks be, what are the pros and cons, and the things that you have to take care of. So with just a few days remaining, you are going to take up mock tests, right? If you are in Ask ITians, you are taking Ask ITians mock tests. And even if you guys are preparing by yourself or using some other sources, this is common for everybody. With a few days remaining, whatever mock test you have planned personally, try to, in those tests, try to guess answers using these tricks that I'm going to tell you. Because this is also something, guessing the answer is also something that needs a little practice at least. So we are going to see how that can also be done. But yes, in general, it's true. You should not guess answers in an exam while at least preparing for JEE. So if you are still preparing for JEE, next year you're going to take attempt next year, I would strongly suggest not to even like skip this lecture right now. You should not guess the answers in the exam. But yes, when it comes to the real thing, with only 4 or 5 days remaining, you should know what is the last resort. If we do not have time at the end of the paper and we need to come to guessing the right answers, then how we would do it. These things we are going to discuss over here. So first of all, let me tell you what is the pattern for this year JEE main. So as you guys must have gone through the notification also, everybody knows you have been preparing for JEE. This is the pattern of the paper. Physics, chemistry, mathematics, all three subjects, total 25 questions will be asked. There will be, let me just use a pointer over here. Okay, so over here, guys, you are going to have physics questions, like MCQs type of questions are there, multiple choice questions, where 4 options are there. And then other section will be numerical problem value, where integer type of answers are supposed to be given. So we are going to see in which of these categories you can actually guess just MCQs, just numerical, or both of them. So 20 questions in each subject from section A, 5 questions from section B. Actually, 10 questions will be there, out of which you have to do only 5. So 25, 25, 25 makes up 75 over here. Now let's talk about the marking scheme. This is also most important factor, which is going to decide if we are going to attempt, to making a guess in the paper. So MCQ's marking scheme is +4 marks if you get the answer right, -1 if you get it wrong, and 0 marks if you keep it unattempted. And unfortunately, same marking scheme is there for numerical value problems also this time. Last year also it was the same. +4 for correct, but -1 for incorrect. Actually, guys, earlier 3-4 years back, you did not have negative marking in numerical problems, but now there is. So this changes the strategy. I'm going to talk about that also in the session. So once we know the marking scheme, let's do some math. So you guys, everybody have studied mathematics probability chapter. You're preparing for JEE. So you are already an expert of it. Maybe you know probability more than me right now. So over here, guys, let's imagine a situation where we have 4 questions next, like one after the other, and we are supposed to guess in them. Now you guys know there are 4 options, right? So what is your probability to guess the right answer randomly in a question? If like you guess randomly out of the 4 options, one answer. So what is the probability that it will be right? Can I say 1 by 4? Because one option is right out of 4. So 25% probability. So let's look at it. If, for example, I say I attempted 1 question. So the situation will be like 1 question will be right out of 4 questions that I attempt, correct? Now look at this. If I did the first question right, I will get +4 marks for it because correct is +4. But probability, according to the probability, if the second one will be wrong, third one will be wrong, and fourth one will be wrong. So if out of 4, 1 is correct, what is the net marks that I will get? Just do the math. +4 -1 -1 I get +1 mark for every 4 guessed answers. So it's not a zero-sum game actually. Here, if you guess answers randomly, you will, on an average, end up with +1 score. Now, it does not mean that you're definitely going to get +1 score. You guys can get all 4 of them wrong also. So you can get -4 also. All 4 are wrong. But imagine, except the case where all 4 go wrong, where you get -4, in all other cases, you will get a positive score. If one of them goes right, you will get +1 in total, as shown over here. If 2 of them get right, you will get +6 marks. If 3 of them get right, which is very less probable, if 3 of them get right, you will get +11. And in the most like impossible case, you will get +16 for getting all of 4 of them right. But my point is, guys, according to mathematics, randomly, if you make guesses, you will get +1 score on an average. So it's not zero-sum game. It's not like you're going to get 0 marks if you just attempt equal, like if you, according to probability, you have equal distribution right and wrong. Okay, so it just might be a good thing to actually guess in the exam. But does it mean that I should actually start guessing the answers in the exam? And maybe like there are 75 questions out of 75, and every 4 I'll get +1. So I'll end up with some positive marks. Actually, there's another factor that we need to consider over here to see if it is feasible to even attempt the guesswork. So let's talk about the feasibility of the theory of probability. Imagine there are 4 people. Okay, you're attempting your JEE main paper, and in the end, guys, out of 75, 74 questions. This first guy that I have over here, yeah, this person that I have over here, he has attempted 74 questions. Only in the last question, he is trying to guess. So what would he do? Like he would be guessing that answer, right? We are imagining that. We are imagining that situation where he guesses this. So imagine now, guys, only one question he has in which he tries to guess. So what is the probability of him getting it right? There is 75% probability that he will get it wrong, right? And 25% probability only that he will get it right. So it seems like a low probability, only 25% chance of getting it right. Why should you take that risk? Seems too low. But think about another person who in the end has attempted 73 questions. Only 2 questions are pending to be answered. So what he does is he guesses 2 of those answers. So what is the probability of him getting it wrong? He has 3 by 4 probability of getting this question wrong, the first question. And what is the probability in getting the second one also wrong? 3 by 4. So what is the probability of getting both of them wrong? You can imagine 75% to 75%. That's 56.25%. So 56.25% is there that he will get it wrong. But the rest of it, 100 minus 56.25, he has 43.75% probability that he can get at least one of them right. So do you see it's a little more? Now imagine there's a person who is going to guess 3 questions. He has 3 questions left. So again, going the same way, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4. The probability of getting both of them, all three of them wrong is 42.18. But probability of getting at least one of them right is 57.82. Do you see it has increased now? And imagine that guy who is guessing all four of them. So he has 31% probability only of getting all of them wrong, but a high probability of getting at least one of them right. Now he can get 2 also right, 3 also right, 4 also right. So what do we learn from this matrix? Let me go back, look at this matrix. When the person was guessing one question, there was high probability of getting both of them wrong, small probability of getting at least one right. When he guesses 2, a little more probability of getting at least one right. 3, even more. And when it comes to 4, then it's like a buffet of extra score. 68.36%. Most probably he will get at least one of them right. So my point over here is, guys, statistically, guesswork works only if there are many guesses to be made. If you have just 1-2 questions left in the end, do not guess, because probability works most probably only when there are more number of events. Do you guys understand this point? Can you let me know in chat? Are you guys understanding this? Only when you have more number of questions to guess in, only in that case you should try guessing. In 1 or 2, you will have lower probability of getting at least one of them right. Okay, so this is one thing that we are remembering. But now, if we realize it, we have in the end so many questions left. What should we do? Should we start solving them or should we start guessing them? One thing that I'm telling you is, I want this lecture to be useless for you, because ideally we should solve all questions, because you will never end up with more questions that just by guessing than you would when you solve questions one by one. If you know, if I have 10 questions in the end left, and probably the questions are of physics. If I'm strong at physics now, I am going to attempt all those questions. I'm going to solve maybe 3 questions and get done with it. I will probably skip 7 questions. But yes, if I have physics, I'm weak in it, I know probably I will not be able to solve those questions that fast. Maybe in that case, only in that case, when I have no other option left, this is the last resort, I am going to guess those 10 questions. My point here is, it is important to solve questions than to guess them. This is what we are doing. I want it to be useless for most of us. I don't want people to guess in the paper. That is still giving you only 68.36% probability of getting one right. But solving can give you 95% chance of getting it right. Okay. So this we are going to use only in the worst case scenario, when we do not have any time left. We do not know how to solve questions, and we have to rely on something like guessing. So what are the methods of guessing in the questions without making a mess, without getting them wrong? So if you guys have seen my previous lectures also on YouTube, you would realize that I had mentioned different methods last time than I am presenting over here. Here I'm mentioning there are 3 methods of guessing the right answer: dimensional analysis, knowledge of dimensional analysis from grade 11th physics, which of course you're going to use in physics. Second is logical analysis of options. Third is guessing from the image. Last time I told you 2 more things. One was finding pattern in the options. Now, this year, when I analyzed for this lecture, I had analyzed last year's paper, 2022. I have seen a trend. It is more and more difficult with time to guess the answers. I had very hard time to get examples for this lecture. In this lecture, I'm going to give you a very optimistic image. You would feel like guesswork works this strongly in JEE. It's actually not so. Out of the 8 attempts that were there last year in 2022, I could only come up with these few questions to guess in. Okay, so what I'm saying is, it's not like guess works in most of the questions. In most of the questions, it does not work. So there, you would just try to solve those questions. But there are some questions, some cases where it will work. Now, I was telling you about this. Last year, I had discussed more methods of solving it. One was finding pattern in the options. Now, JEE has become smart. JEE main has become really smart. It now does not leave any pattern in the options. There was something which you can check. Earlier, there used to be pattern. But my point is, even JEE knows all these tricks, right? So they have eliminated that. Now you cannot solve questions using that trick. If you try to get into guessing by finding some pattern in the options, you would end up losing marks because they are smart enough for it. There was one more thing that I discussed last time, how to guess in numerical based problems. I told you two types of problems are asked. One are MCQs, one are numericals. Till last year, I was giving you ideas on how to guess numerical values, like which value is most probably correct, how you can do it. But this year onwards, guys, as I told you, negative marking is there in numerical. That means how many options are there in guessing through numerical? Infinite. There are infinite numerical integer values that you can put in. And getting -1, it's a huge toll that you will have to pay. So you are not going to guess in numerical values. This year onwards, we are going to guess only in MCQs. Only when we have no other option. Only in MCQs we will guess. We are not going to guess in numerical values. Okay, so these are the tips that I want to start with. So first, let us start with dimensional analysis. But let me tell you, guessing works mostly in physics. That is why me being a physics faculty, I'm giving you this lecture because it mostly works in physics only. Chemistry, maths, I could not find any pattern, particularly in 2022 papers. So let's talk about dimensional analysis. You guys already are an expert. It is a chapter officially in JEE physics. So let's look at this question. It's an example from JEE in 2022. Oh, it's a question that you can solve easily than in fact using dimensional analysis. But the reason I am discussing it with you is I want to tell you that it is possible for options to have dimensional inconsistency. Can you tell me which of these options are dimensionally incorrect? Look at these 4 options from last year's paper. Which of the options are dimensionally incorrect, which cannot be the answer at all? Just read the question. Momentum of electron they are asking. Yeah, Kushagra, you're right. D cannot be the option. Yes. Sai, A and B you are saying is not possible or possible? Correct, Darshan. Not possible. No, that's possible. See, what is the formula for angular momentum? Look at the options. It's talking about nh upon 2 pi something. Angular momentum we know is nh upon 2 pi. Angular momentum, which is momentum into distance. So nh upon 2 pi is angular momentum. It cannot be correct. And momentum will have what dimensions? Like angular momentum is linear momentum into distance r. So can I say from this? I don't know if this formula is there or not, but linear momentum will be of this form. nh upon 2 pi into some distance in the denominator. So this is dimensionally incorrect. It's the reciprocal of that. So either A or B is correct. By chance, as I told you, this question is actually easy. So A option is correct. My point is there are sometimes very infrequently dimensional inconsistency in the option. So as you can see, option A is correct for this. Okay, C and D directly wrong. Now come to a question which can actually be solved just by looking at options. You don't actually need to understand what is or how to solve this question. Just read this question once. I give you a minute. Then let's see how we can do it using dimensional analysis. Yeah, Piyush, correct. Can you guys try this using dimensional analysis? Correct, Sahil. Correct, Kushagra. But I hope you guys are doing it using dimensional analysis. Yeah, Darshan, correct. See, guys, when I looked at this question, I actually did not solve the question. I just looked at the options and saw what is dimensionally inconsistent. What is the dimension of wavelength? Wavelength is length. And I think you guys know Rydberg constant is inverse of length. right? Look at the first option. First option is having in the denominator lambda minus 1. This is not possible. How can you subtract a dimensionless quantity from a dimensionful quantity? Length minus nothing is not possible. It's not possible. Everybody got this? What are we supposed to find? We are supposed to find the value of principal quantum number. What is the dimensions of principal quantum number? It's just a number. It's dimensionless. That means, guys, answer should be dimensionless. So let's look at it. Lambda into r. Let's check if it is dimensionally possible. Lambda into r. It's dimensionless. Length into inverse length. Can we subtract 1 from it? Yeah, that's allowed. Dimensionless minus dimensionless. In the numerator, is everything fine? Let's look at it. Lambda into r. This is also dimensionless. So dimensionless upon dimensionless, it's dimensionless. So this is possible. This entire quantity is dimensionless. But if you look at it, this is dimensionless. But this is having dimensions. This is not possible from it. Answer has to be dimensionless. Same problem over here also. This also has dimensions. It's not possible. So clearly the answer is B. I don't even need to know how to solve this question. Okay, so this is also a question, as I've mentioned, from last year's paper. So the option is B over here. Let's move to the next question and see. This is also a question from last year. Can you tell me which one is correct as per dimensional analysis? No, Kushagra. You guys are doing it using dimensional analysis, Kushagra Sai. What is even the point of solving this question? Like this thing that we're discussing over is for dimensions. So try to see if dimension can give you the answer. So guys, if you have tried and you're not getting it, you guys are not going to get it. Because I have given this example of where you cannot use dimensional analysis. See, none of these 4 options have dimensions of acceleration, right? All are some constant into distance, constant into distance, constant to length, and so on. Why is dimensional analysis not working on this? Option is one of them, but none of them is actually having acceleration dimensions. The problem is in this question, they are saying the position x is equal to 3t. X is equal to 3t. Is this dimensionally possible? Length on one side, time on the other side. What it actually means is that in this constant 3, there are hidden dimensions. This 3 itself has dimensions hidden. So actually, those hidden dimensions are present with these numbers also. That is why you cannot solve this question using dimension analysis. Cannot solve this using dimensions. So it's not just you should know how to solve questions using dimensions, but you should also know which ones you cannot. So these kind of questions you will not be able to use dimension analysis in. The answer for this is B, but of course you cannot get in using dimensions. So that was the first most simple trick. But let me tell you, you would not find it easily in the questions. JEE over time has become smart. It hardly gives any such inconsistencies. I had struggled a lot to find those 2 examples from last year. But coming to the next trick, which is the most used, and this is like the one you need to be an expert of. I was able to find 10 questions in total from last couple of years. So let's discuss logical analysis of options, and this works only in physics. Let's see what it actually says. This was a question from last year. Read this question and then I will discuss it with you. Just read this question once. Okay, I hope you guys have read this question, but let me also tell you what this question is trying to say. Seems like a lengthy question when we see it for the first time. Capacitance of an isolated conducting sphere of radius R1. So there's some sphere of radius R1 and it's talking about its capacitance. Okay, some capacitance it must have. Now it's saying when you enclose it in a new shell of radius R2, I think it's asking. Yeah, in a radius, so this was R1. I'm so sorry for that. Yeah. This original radius is R1, but if I concentrically placed another sphere of radius R2 around it, then it is asking what is going to be the new capacitance. In fact, like it's saying capacitance becomes n times. Okay, so they are asking the value of R2 by R1. Which one of these four options is it? So what we do in these kinds of questions is, guys, like again, you will have to find it only if out of the questions that are left, if anything fits in this kind that you can actually guess using these options, only then you can do it. It's not like easily you can do this thing. Depends if you have any such question left, if you have time, that is the question attempted. So on the basis of this, we decide. But let's see how to actually do it. We are supposed to find R2 by R1 if the new capacitance is n times of the old capacitance. If old capacitance is C naught, new capacitance is n C naught. So what I do, guys, whenever I see these expressions is I try to check in for some limits. Like tell me, if R2 by R1 is infinity, let us imagine if R2 by R1 is infinity, I mean R2 is infinity, what should be the value of n? According to you, using logic. Try to think over this. If the radius of the outer sphere is infinite, what should be the value of n? Like imagine what I'm saying. If the outer sphere goes up to infinity, correct, Sahil? If the outer sphere goes into infinity, doesn't it become the previous setup only? Here actually R2 is infinity because there is no radius. It's like the outer sphere is at infinity. So n should be 1 when R2 by R1 is infinity. Or the other way around, you can see. Out of these four options, in which one, if you put n equal to 1, answer will be infinite? In all these options, in which one will you put n equal to 1 so that answer is infinity? That is the correct answer. Understood how we get this? We try to put some like specific, important, interesting, special values. If one of the options satisfies it, that's the correct option. Let's look at the next question now. This is the other example that I found in JEE Main 2022 paper. Look at this, read this, and then we will discuss it. And see if you can tell me the answer using one of these kinds of logic, putting some value as something interesting. So the question is, there's this two setup, two conductors concentrically placed, concentrically placed squares. You are supposed to find their mutual inductance. Now either you need to know the whole concept and you're going to solve it, which you should ideally solve the question properly. But there's another way of doing this. Let's say I do not have time left at the end. I have no other option. I have just probably 1 minute left and I have to solve this. I cannot solve this in 1 minute. So I'll just quickly read the question and then I will think if I can put any special value of something. So I imagine like this. Like what is mutual inductance, guys? Mutual inductance tells us, like there's a formula that you know, flux through the second coil is mutual inductance multiplied by current through first coil, right? This is what mutual inductance is used for. If the current through first one is known, due to it, what is the current in the second one? Yeah, Kushal, you're right. Good. So guys, what is actually happening? If I pass some current in the inner coil, can you imagine there'll be field lines coming out of it like this? Okay, the other way around. It'll be going down from like this and go up from here. Can you imagine this? Some field lines will be going out, will go into it. But there'll be other kind of field lines also which are not going into it. So can you see, not all field lines that pass through the inner coil actually pass through outer coil. Not all of them pass. Okay, so you can see this one is not passing through outer, this one is not passing through outer. But imagine if capital L tends to infinity, what will be the net flux passing through the outer coil? Imagine it like this. This is the inner coil, current is flowing like this. If the outer coil has infinite length, can you imagine every field line is going to go like this? Sorry, I drew it the other way around. It should be like upwards like this. It'll be going like this. It'll be going like this. It'll be going like this. So what I imagine is, guys, if the outer coil is of infinite length, like up to infinity like this, can you imagine every field line that passes through it, like goes through it downward, is also from some other point going upward? Can you see net flux is going to be zero through it? If L tends to infinity, net magnetic flux will be zero if L tends to infinity. So which of these four options give me infinity if I put L zero, if I put L equals to infinity? Option B and C, because L is in the denominator. What it means is, do I know the answer? No, guys, I don't know. I don't know if it is B or C, but at least it leaves me in a better situation to guess. Like, what is the probability of getting the answer right? Generally, it is 1/4. But now in this question, my probability of getting the right answer is 1/2. So I have three situations. Either I'll get -1, right? The situation where both of them are wrong. Or I will get +4 - 1 or +4 - 4. +8 I can end with, +3 I can end with, or -2. This is much better than the situation I had earlier. I have fewer options to guess in. So that means I have higher probability of getting the right answer. Okay, so this is one other question where you could have used logic to guess the right answer. Try the next one now. Tell me which answer, according to this logical approach, putting something as 0 or something as infinity, will give me the right answer. This is one question that you can easily solve also. You don't need to guess, but I'm just giving you as an exercise where you can actually solve questions using this if you do not have any other option. Here it's given initial velocity is V0, and it is given particle is accelerating. Accelerating means what? Its speed is going to increase with time. So it keeps on increasing its speed like this. So they're asking the variation of de Broglie wavelength. De Broglie wavelength, don't you think de Broglie wavelength is inversely proportional to the speed? H/mv. What I imagine is, if with time velocity is increasing, that means with time de Broglie wavelength should decrease. So that means wavelength should be somehow inversely proportional to time. Only one of these four options has that, option D. That's it. All I imagined was with speed, with time, it should speed up, de Broglie wavelength should decrease. Only fourth option gives me that. So the answer is option D. Understood this? These kind of simple logics also you can use. And you see, option C is dimensionally incorrect. It does not have dimensions of wavelength. It has dimensions of wavelength multiplied by time. That was anyways out. Let's try this question. We have done this question a while ago using dimensional analysis, right? The same question. Now, can you try to do it using logic over here? Like putting some interesting limit somewhere. What logic will you use here? Think and tell me. Like some important values to be used are infinity, 1, 0, these values only. Try to think over this. I'm giving you a hint. What do you expect to happen when lambda is infinity? Like physically, what do you expect to happen if the wavelength of photon coming out is infinite? What do you expect as the value of n in that case? No, Kushag. That will be correct. No, Kushag, not correct. No, Taha. No, Karthik. No, Deep Sai. You're not imagining it right, guys. Lambda equals to, yes, Taha, that's right. Lambda equals to infinity means what? How much is the energy of the photon coming out? Hc by lambda, 0. No energy is coming out. So guys, we are saying in this is the nucleus. Electron is coming from higher energy to this energy. From which shell should it come? From which excited state should it fall on the ground state so that no energy is coming out? Electron is coming from some outer higher state to this state, but no energy is coming out. What must be this excited energy be? Shouldn't it also be 1? That means photon electron is not jumping. Basically, in the beginning also it was in ground state. Finally, also it is in ground state. So in which of the 4 options, if you put lambda infinity, answer will be just 1? Only in this option. Try to see. Limits chapter in mathematics you have studied, right? That is to be used. Lambda in infinite, lambda in the numerator also, denominator also, divide both of them with lambda r. It's going to become 1 upon 1 minus 1 upon lambda r. You can write it like this. So if lambda becomes infinity, it's going to become 1 minus 1 by infinity. That is root of 1 minus 1 by 0, which is 1. So option B is the only possibility. Got it, guys? When I saw this question for the first time, I did it this way only. So moving to now the next question, the 5th question. Can you try this question from capacitance using this logic? So tell me what you expect in this. If you put this equal to this, you expect this. What is that? How would you use that, Piyush? Like, what will you put equal to what? Guys, they're saying there are two plates. Yeah, Piyush, I think you're able to think in this direction. They are saying, guys, there are two plates. This is having charge Q1, this is having charge Q2. And the capacitance of this plate is, this combination of plates is C. So they're asking what is the potential difference. Now I don't know how to solve this question. So how would I do it? What I will assume is, like, what do you guys know the answer for? Yes, correct, Taha. That is exactly what we're going to do. This is a new kind of question over here, but we know the answer for one type of setup, a normal capacitor, where what is the situation? One plate has charge, some charge Q naught. So other body has how much charge? Other plate has exact negative minus Q naught. So what is the potential difference in that case? That I know. In that case, potential difference is Q naught by C. So the point is, if you put Q1 is equal to Q naught and Q2 equals to minus Q naught, guys, answer should be Q naught by C. Which of the four options gives me that? Put Q1 as Q naught, Q2 as minus Q naught. Which one will give me the answer? Q naught by C. Correct, Piyush. Just the third C option gives me that, guys. So that is the correct answer for this. Okay, I don't need to know how to solve this question, the details. So this trick is particularly helpful in this question. It would take probably a lot of time to solve this, but using this, you can instantly give the answer. Moving to the next question. Question 6, this one. Again, a question from last year. Try this question. So Kushagra, what logic are you using over here? Okay, so any of the options gives you that answer, Sahil? Lambda equals to 1. So the answer is D. Yeah. That's right. Taha. Kushagra is saying, no, Kushagra, that's not correct. Check again. Read the question properly. What are you saying, Drashya? If you put lambda as 0, there's no velocity, no height gained. Okay, D is giving that, but B also says the same, right, Drashya? B is also possible from there. No, just a second. Put lambda equals to 0. Oh, no. It's not correct. No, Drashya. You're applying it wrong. No, guys. See, everybody is missing out on one thing. First, let's discuss the thing which Taha has said. Taha says over here, if I put lambda as 1, with what velocity have you thrown the particle from the surface? What is the velocity? Escape velocity. So how far should the body go? Up to infinity. So guys, the distance should come out to be infinity if lambda is 1. Which of the 4 options gives me that? B, C, D, all 3 are possible. If I put lambda is 1, all 3. So A is not correct. That is fine. But there's a better consideration, which you guys are considering, but you're doing it wrong. If lambda equal to 0, guys, if lambda is equal to 0, up to what height is the body going to go? But you're not reading the question. From the center of the earth. If you don't throw the particle, how far from the center of the earth will the body rise? Radius. This thing you are missing out on. If you put lambda is 0, this answer should be R. Which of the 4 options gives me R if I put lambda is 0? D is gone. D gives me 0 in that case. This is not possible. Either B or C is correct. Now let me tell you, this is where is the limit of my approach. I cannot tell on the basis of this which one is correct, B or C, because lambda square, I will not be able to comment on the basis of this. So fine, no problem. I will, because I do not have time left at the end, I'm going to just guess one of the 2 options. So I have 50% probability of getting the answer right, plus 4 if right, only minus 1 if wrong. I am always in profit. So let's move to the next question now. Question number 7. Can you try this also? Again, a question on capacitance. I think mostly in capacitance, we can use this trick. Tell me what special condition are you going to use over here? Correct, Piyush. It's a classic JEE question. NCRT also has a derivation of it. In school, they can ask you this. They are saying if there was only air, then the capacitance was C naught. But if I fill inside it, some dielectric material up to a certain width out of the total thickness, I fill it with some dielectric constant K in 3/4 of its width. Yeah. I don't know where, just randomly drawing it. If I fill K, what is going to be the new capacitance? Just check. If K is equal to 1, guys, what should the answer be? If I replace that dielectric with air, what will be the capacitance? Wouldn't it become the previous setup only? Shouldn't the answer be C naught in that case? If I put K equal to 1, that basically means I've reduced it back to the same system. Which of the 4 options gives me C naught if I put K as 1? Only the first option. Correct, Karthik. Yes. I don't need to solve the question further. I just looked at it. I gave the answer. I moved to the next question. I saved my time. So now let's move to the other examples. Guys, there are some other examples that I've included. These are from my previous video that I prepared on 2019 papers basis last year. You can check these also. Okay. These questions you can check by yourself. There's also another interesting question on capacitance. There also some important condition is there. You can think over these and try these questions again. Okay, and then there was a question number, this example number 10. This also you can see how you would get the right answer for it. Let me discuss the another method, the last method of guessing the right answers, which is through guessing from the image. Like, it does not work mostly in the questions, but I think we just need to stumble upon some question where we can do this. Again, it will not give you the right answer directly, but it can at least help in eliminating some options. See what they're asking in this question. If they moved from A to B, this distance is 60 meters. So they're asking, what is that magnitude of displacement? So they're asking this length. Now, is this an image close to real? Yes, it certainly is. This actually seems like 135 degree. So can you tell me which of the 4 options cannot be the displacement, which is out of the game altogether? As I said, it's not very dependable method, but still helps as the last resort. Yeah, it does. It certainly does not seem like 1/3 of this. C can definitely not be there. It doesn't seem like 1/3 of it, right? Yeah, it's not scientific at all, whatever I'm saying. In fact, in real world, if you talk about real science, they want proof for everything. But yes, as last resort, if I don't have time, if I had just 5 seconds to attempt it, I would just read the question and say A, C is not correct, and probably I will guess one of the three options. So you would ask, do I have a good chance of getting the answer right out of 1 out of 3? Of course, not only 33%. But again, if you weigh against this the scores that you're going to get, +4 if you guessed at least one of them right and 2 of them wrong, so it will be net +2. So it's going to be beneficial only. But again, these things are going to work if you like guess at least in 3-4 questions. Otherwise, it is not going to work a lot. Another question that you can do, actually answer was B. Another question that you can do just by looking at the figure is this. Can you tell me which of the options can be correct? They're asking basically the center of mass of this. This shaded part has been removed. Believe me, you don't need to solve this. Yeah, correct. Which of the 4 is correct? I'm asking, guys. Which one is correct? Others are not even possible. Figure is drawn. Center of mass they're asking. Try to locate these points. 2a/3, 2b/3 is actually over here. Can this be the center of mass? No. Center of mass of this part they're asking. A option is gone. B option is 5a/3, 5b/3. That is also not possible. This is the second point, B. It is also gone. It's out of the body. Third point is 3a/4, 3b/4. 3a/4, 3b/4 is also somewhere over here. This is also gone. Only option D is left. So that is correct. Okay, like again, it is an example from 2019. So at least for last 3 years, we have not been able to use it, but you can still keep an eye over these kind of possibilities also. If it comes in your attempt, then it will be great. And the last question that I want to discuss over here is this. Check this. Again, it's an extremely easy question. Better than using any shortcut is actually to solve this question in the first place. But still, using some logic, can you try to answer it? Which possibilities are not there? What logic will you use over here? So you're saying one particle is thrown at, yeah, Piyush, correct. First particle is thrown at a small angle 30 degree. And second particle is thrown. No, Kushagri. This kind of logic we are never going to use. So Kushagri says thing is root 2 times. So it's not possible. No. That kind of things we cannot comment upon. One particle is thrown at 30 degree at small angle. Other is thrown at a large angle, 45 degree. Which one is probable to go higher? Like if I throw them with same speeds, which one will go higher? If I throw them with same speeds, 45 degree one, because it's like projected more vertically up. That means if they're actually going with to same height, particle first 30 degree angle one must have been thrown with a large speed. Only then, because it's going at small angle, it's at least speed should be more. So the point is velocity at 30 degree should be more than velocity at 45 degree. So option A and D are not possible. I would guess the answers between B and C. Actually, I would not guess. It is very easy to solve this question. That would be like probably taking lesser time than doing all this. But just give an example. If this was a situation, we would mark one between B and C. These kind of things also we can check if a similar question comes. Okay, so that is it from for the session. Again, let me remind you the things that we discussed in the beginning. First of all, these tricks we are not going to use. The best is to actually solve the questions from the very basic. And only if we have no other thing to do, we have 10 questions remaining at the end of the paper, we have no other option. Only in that case, we are going to guess the questions, because only when the number of questions are more, we are more probable to go statistically and get some positive marks. Okay, and these tricks, as I mentioned, work mostly in physics, in chemistry and mathematics. Earlier, a little bit they used to work, now they don't work anymore. And by any chance, please do not attempt, do not guess any answer in the numerical or integer value part. Only MCQs we are going to attempt, only if we have time. Okay, so that is it, guys. All the best. You guys have your attempt coming up very soon. The rest of the mock tests that you're going to attempt, if you have time again, in those mock tests or past year papers that you're attempting, if you have time left at the end, then only in that case, try to use this trick and see if you're able to use it effectively. Okay, so that is it now. Thank you so much for attending this and see you later. Bye-bye, guys.